For more than 4 decades, no one in the world has been allowed to cross the staircase leading to the second floor of Graceland. But Riley Keough, Elvis Presley's granddaughter, has finally decided to speak. Not with drama, but with a quiet honesty that cuts deeper than any rumor ever could. She describes rooms frozen at the exact moment her grandfather's life ended, untouched letters he never sent, and the overwhelming sense that his presence still lingers in the air. The truth she reveals is not about spectacle. It is about grief, family, and the private world Elvis tried to protect until the very end. Graceland, where the silence began. Long before it became the most famous residence in American music history, Graceland was just a quiet house surrounded by open fields on the outskirts of Memphis, built in 1939 by S.E. Keough, a printing company owner. The home had only 10 rooms and a stately but modest southern porch. Nothing about it suggested that it would one day become a pilgrimage site for millions. But in 1957, everything changed. A 22-year-old Elvis Presley, already drowning in the pressures of global fame, bought the property for $102,500. He didn't choose it for luxury or status. He chose it because he was desperate for privacy. A place where the world couldn't reach him. A place where he could breathe. Elvis immediately began reshaping the house into something far more personal than a mansion. Graceland evolved into an extension of his inner world. Bold, unpredictable, and deeply emotional. One of the earliest signs of that transformation came in the late 1960s, when he created the now iconic Jungle Room. With its green shag carpeting on the floors and the ceiling, its carved Polynesian furniture, and its dim, moody atmosphere, the room felt more like a private refuge than a decorative showpiece. It later became his final in-home recording space, where he worked on songs like Moody Blue in early 1976, tracks that hinted at a man searching for something he could no longer define. Just a few steps outside the house, another space held even deeper meaning. The Meditation Garden, built in 1964, was designed for peace and reflection long before it became Elvis's final resting place. Today, fans visit in silence, leaving behind handwritten notes, flowers, and symbols of their devotion. It is the only part of the estate where crowds fall quiet without being asked, as though they instinctively understand that this ground absorbs more grief than celebration. Graceland opened to the public in 1982. Since then, over 20 million people have walked its halls, hoping to feel closer to the man who changed music forever. Yet, despite all the tours, exhibits, and fanfare, one part of the mansion has always remained sealed: the entire second floor. Locked, preserved, untouched since August 16, 1977, the day the world lost Elvis, and the silence upstairs began. Riley Keough steps inside the locked rooms. For most people, the second floor of Graceland is a myth. A place spoken about in whispers but never seen, not even by the millions who have toured the mansion since it opened in 1982. But for Riley Keough, it was part of her childhood, a place she entered quietly, cautiously, while tourists walked below, unaware that the true heart of the house was locked just a few steps above them. As Elvis's granddaughter, Riley never saw the space as forbidden. She saw it as a room full of echoes, where every object felt like it still belonged to someone who had never truly left. Her memories of the upstairs are vivid, yet heavy. The air felt different up there, not haunted, but suspended, as if time simply stopped on the morning of August 16, 1977. She remembers the bed still neatly made, covered with the original silk sheets. She remembers his clothes hanging in the closet, as if Elvis might walk back in and choose an outfit for the day. Even the clock above the bed is stuck at the exact time paramedics tried to revive him. Nothing has been moved. Nothing has been replaced. The upstairs was sealed, not by curators, but by grief. One of the first places Riley gravitated toward was Elvis's personal study. The room was small, dark, and lined with heavy wooden shelves, Books filled every corner. Theology, numerology, mysticism, self-help, and handwritten notebooks filled with Elvis's private thoughts. Some entries read like prayers, others drift into unfinished lyrics or fragmented reflections on fame, loneliness, and faith. Riley says one page held a single question written repeatedly: free. It was the kind of moment that shifted her understanding of her grandfather from legend to human being. Then there was the box. A shoebox hidden beneath the bed with a simple label in bold letters: "Do not open." Inside were letters Elvis never sent, one to Lisa Marie, and another addressed only to "whoever finds this after I'm gone." She has never revealed their contents, calling them too personal, but she admits they changed how she sees him forever. The tunnel theory and Elvis's final withdrawal. Long before fans began whispering about a hidden tunnel under Graceland, there were signs that Elvis Presley was withdrawing from the world in ways few understood. By the mid-1970s, he rarely appeared in public. He performed less, trusted fewer people, and spent most of his time upstairs, the one place the outside world could not reach him. To some, this isolation looked like exhaustion. To others, it looked like preparation. And that's how one of the most persistent theories in pop culture was born. The idea that Elvis didn't die, but disappeared. The tunnel theory has circulated for decades, fueled by unverified staff accounts and urban legends passed from one fan generation to the next. According to the story, a hidden passage was built beneath the estate, stretching from the main house to the rear of the property, or possibly even farther into the woods behind Graceland. The purpose varies depending on who tells the story. An emergency exit to avoid paparazzi, a security measure, or, in the most dramatic versions, the escape route Elvis used to vanish in 1977. Supporters point to the bizarre details surrounding his final years. Elvis had his home checked for bugs, hired private security teams to patrol the grounds, and avoided leaving the upstairs for days at a time. They argue that this wasn't simply reclusive behavior. It was strategic. Then came the sightings. In 1978, 1 year after his death, a man using the alias John Burroughs, the same pseudonym Elvis used when traveling, was reportedly seen boarding a plane in Memphis for Believers. This was the first clue. Others soon followed. A man resembling Elvis at a Michigan gas station, another eating at a Burger King in Texas, and even a mysterious customer at a California DMV who insisted his name wasn't important. Some point to the gravestone Elvis's legal middle name was Aaron, yet the marker reads Aaron. Was it a simple correction, or a deliberate signal that the man buried there wasn't him? There is no evidence, no DNA, no photographs, no credible documentation. But the silence from the family has kept speculation alive. Power struggles, legal battles, and the legacy Riley inherited. When Riley Keough inherited Graceland in 2023, the transition was anything but peaceful. Her mother, Lisa Marie Presley, had passed unexpectedly that January, leaving Riley not just a grieving daughter, but the new head of a multi-million-dollar cultural empire. Within weeks, a legal challenge emerged. Priscilla Presley, Lisa Marie's mother and Elvis's former wife, contested a 2016 amendment to the trust that placed full control of Graceland and Elvis Presley Enterprises under Riley's authority. The dispute was brief but intense, a reminder that the Presley legacy is more than a family history. It is a fortress of property rights, licensing contracts, intellectual property, and global branding power. The settlement put Riley firmly in charge, but it also exposed the enormous weight she now carries. At just 34, she oversees decisions that affect not only the estate's financial future, but Elvis's cultural identity itself. She works closely with archivists, preservation specialists, and attorneys. She approves new exhibits, reviews restoration plans, and monitors the condition of decades-old artifacts. Behind the scenes, she has launched digital initiatives to scan and catalog handwritten lyrics, personal letters, and even private notes Elvis left behind, ensuring they are preserved with scientific precision. But controlling the narrative is her most delicate responsibility. Elvis is not merely a musician, he is an American symbol, a figure wrapped in both admiration and controversy. Riley understands that opening the wrong door, releasing the wrong document, or revealing the wrong detail could shift public perception in unpredictable ways. That's why she refuses to commercialize the upstairs rooms or turn Elvis's private life into a spectacle. She has rejected offers to film inside the restricted areas and declined proposals for reality shows or dramatized series about the Presley family's secret heirs and the questions Riley refuses to answer. Rumors of secret heirs have followed the Presley name for decades, weaving themselves into the mythology surrounding Elvis almost as tightly as the music itself. From the 1980s onward, more than a dozen individuals have stepped forward claiming to be his biological children. Some presented dramatic stories, hidden relationships, sealed letters, payments made in silence. Others went further, offering what they called proof. Questionable DNA samples, birth certificates from distant towns, or side-by-side photos showing resemblances they believed were undeniable. Most of these claims collapsed under scrutiny, but the fact that they never fully disappear reveals just how powerful Elvis's shadow remains. A few cases even reached courtrooms. One man filed a petition demanding Elvis's body be exhumed for DNA testing. A request swiftly denied another woman mailed in a hair sample purchased from an auction, hoping it would link her to Elvis. The estate dismissed it, citing an unreliable chain of custody. In every instance, the claims crumbled long before they could be legally recognized. The Presley estate operates under strict legal protections, and without pristine DNA evidence, verified documentation, and airtight historical timelines, no court will acknowledge any alleged Presley heir. Still, the stories persist. Fans speculate about possible children from Elvis's early years, the 1950s and 1960s when fame surrounded him, but documentation was loose, and the world paid more attention to his concerts than his private life. Names surface repeatedly in online forums. Women who claim to have received confidential letters, secret phone calls, or financial support. Nothing has ever been confirmed by close friends, family, or authorized biographers. What makes the mystery even more compelling is the Presley family's silence. Lisa Marie never addressed the rumors publicly, and Riley follows the same path. Not a denial, not a clarification, just silence, which, for some, is more provocative than any explanation. Whether it is a legal strategy, a desire to avoid fueling fringe theories, or a quiet acknowledgement that some parts of the past should remain personal, Riley has made it clear that not every chapter of the Presley story is meant for public consumption. The lost recordings and the final secrets upstairs. For as long as Elvis's music has echoed through American culture, fans have wondered whether his voice might still be waiting somewhere, trapped on tapes no one has ever heard. The final official recording sessions took place inside the Jungle Room in 1976, where Elvis laid down tracks like Way Down and Moody Blue. But musicians and engineers who worked with him during those final years insist that more existed late-night piano takes, unfinished gospel hymns, and personal recordings meant only for himself. Over the decades, rumors of these lost Elvis tapes have grown into a legend of their own. It didn't help the situation. In the 1990s, a tape emerged claiming to contain a haunting farewell song titled This Is Goodbye. For a moment, fans believed they had stumbled onto Elvis's last message to the world, but it was eventually exposed as an impersonator's performance, carefully manipulated to resemble Elvis's voice. Even so, other recordings continue to surface, some clearly fraudulent, others shrouded in enough mystery to keep hope alive. The line between fact and fantasy has blurred, not because fans are naive, but because so much of Elvis's final years remain hidden behind that locked upstairs door. What gives the rumors weight is not the bootlegs, but the silence of the archive. Unlike the vaults of other legendary musicians, Elvis's private materials have never been fully released or even publicly cataloged. Riley Keough has acknowledged that many items in the upstairs rooms, tapes, documents, notebooks, have yet to be digitized or reviewed in detail. Archivists quietly confirm the same. Certain storage cabinets in Elvis's bedroom and study remain untouched, waiting for careful hands and careful decisions. Then there is the rumor shared anonymously by a former estate employee, a reel-to-reel recorder found in the upstairs study with a small stack of unlabeled tapes beside it. No photos, no confirmation, nothing official, but the story fits what we already know. Elvis often recorded privately, singing rough drafts late at night, speaking lyrics aloud, or capturing melodies before they slipped away. His longtime producer Felton Jarvis once said openly that Elvis recorded far more than he ever allowed to be released. Whether those recordings survived is a question only Riley can answer. And perhaps the real truth is this: not every secret upstairs was meant to be heard. Some belonged to a man who gave the world almost everything and kept only a handful of pieces for himself. Even after everything Riley Keough has revealed, the upstairs of Graceland remains a place the world will probably never see. A private corner of Elvis Presley's life that still belongs only to his family. Maybe that's why the mystery endures. Some secrets were never meant to be opened, only understood. Which part of Elvis's story do you wish the family would share someday? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And stay tuned. There are many more stories waiting to be uncovered.